Absolute Wealth. Real investors, real results.
Okay, everybody, this is John Carter with Absolute Wealth. Let's go ahead and take a look at the markets. And one thing about today's it's Tuesday after the market closed, and I did want to note that Priceline reported earnings today. It closed at $679.80, and after hours it is trading at $575. So it's down $104 from its close, and then net on the day is down 90. So that'll be kind of interesting. The funny thing is they actually met expectations and everything like that. It'll be interesting to see kind of where that ends up. But if we look at a daily chart where this level is in terms of where it's settling is, 575, about right. Right about there. It's kind of coming down into some pretty interesting support levels here. So we'll see how it does in the morning. It's not going to, really impact the markets too bad. The futures aren't impacted by this. But, this is one of the glamour stocks here. You had a nice kind of a bullish trade and it kind of set up like that. Now it's kind of off and running. Okay, so what about the overall indexes? I do think we're actually in an area here we're at some important resistance, okay? And you've got a couple of things going here. There's a couple of different schools of thought. One of them is called Elliott Wave, and on an hourly chart here, if you look at this, how Elliott Wave works, I call these the voodoo charts because they're always good in hindsight, but they're pretty good. So you got, essentially what happens is you get a kind of these are waves. So you get a kind of a fifth wave high, and then you get some consolidation, and then you could actually start a fifth wave down. All right, so that's on an hourly chart. If we look here at a daily chart, it gives you a little bit more of a picture. Here we had like a 5 waves down. Okay, bam, bam, and then you just ABC is just kind of like we don't know what we're doing yet. It's consolidation, and then we had this massive 5 wave up, okay, 5th wave high, and that was a top. We got this choppy action. So now we're in the process of trying to start another 5th wave higher, right? Well, how this is going to work out is we've got this, okay, this is going to be a 4th wave bottom, and then if the 5th wave tops out, not to get too esoteric here, and we can't even get through the March highs, then we're going to have a massive sell-off. So long story short, this is an important week, and if in the next essentially how it's going to work is like this. If in the next 2 weeks, all right, we can't clear the March highs, which are about 1425, then we're looking for an intermediate term top, and we're going to actually look for a pretty massive sell-off. So that's what's going on there, just to keep things fairly interesting. Okay, so what does that mean? If the stock market sells off, well, guess what? That actually means that the dollar, in a strong market, the dollar would rally. So that also means that gold would most typically fall. And see gold right here is kind of in a choppy mess. So the main thing I'm going to be watching this week is, can this market put in a top and actually get and I'm talking like a 10% pullback. I'm not talking about a crash. But a pullback like that is useful to, add positions, different things like that. The main thing on something like this, though, is not to panic. It's not like, oh my God, I got to sell everything and then I got to short. What you want to do is if you have stocks and stuff like that, just move up your stops, okay? At this point, you want to bring your stop losses very tight. A lot of people I talk to, maybe they bought Walmart at 50, and now it's like, it's past $70. Great. Move up your stop to like 68 bucks, okay? Because if the market tops off and we get a 10% sell-off, guess what? Then you can reestablish positions at a lower level. Okay, so keep an eye out for that. You guys have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you at the next update.